Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya Naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayamudire Nashta prayesu abhadresu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama sloke Bhaktir bhavati naistike Mukhaṁ karati vācālaṁ pangulangayate girim Yat kripātamaham bande Sri Gurum Dīnataranam Sri Paramananda Madhavam. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 20, text 27 and 28. So 27 has no purport. I will read 27, then we will go to 28. Banokasa pramudita Banarajir madhuchyutah Jaladhara girirnada Asanna datrise guhā. Translation. The Lord saw the joyful virgin girls of the forest, the trees dripping sweet sap, and the mountain waterfalls, whose resounding indicated that there were caves nearby. Text 28. Kvacid vanaspati-kroḍe guhāyāṁ cābhivarṣati nirviśya bhagavān reme kanda-mūla-phalāśanaḥ. Kvacid, sometimes, vanaspati, of a tree, kroḍe, in the hollow, guhāyāṁ, in a cave, ca, or abhivarṣati, when it was raining, nirviśya, entering, bhagavān, the Supreme Lord, reme, enjoyed, kanda-mūla, roots, phala, and fruits, aśanaḥ, eating. Translation. When it rained, the Lord would sometimes enter a cave or the hollow of a tree to play and to eat roots and fruits. Purport. Śrīla Sanātana Gosvāmī explains that during the rainy season, bulbs and roots are very tender and palatable. And Lord Kṛṣṇa would eat them along with wild fruits found in the forest. Lord Kṛṣṇa and his young boyfriends would sit in the hollow of a tree or within a cave and enjoy pastimes while waiting for the rain to stop. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shagana Raghunatha Nitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Kṛṣṇa Padan Shagana Lalita Shri Visakhannitam Sa He Kṛṣṇa Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavadanaya Kṛṣṇa Prema Pradayate Kṛṣṇāya Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Namne Gauratase Namah Jai Shri Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaurav Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here in these two verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kṛṣṇa's Vrindavan pastimes in rainy season has been described. As we are continuing this chapter, the rainy season and autumn will be coming after this. So, Lord Kṛṣṇa is performing his pastimes in the forest of Vrindavan in rainy season, which is very attractive and full of pleasure. As we all know, that after the scorching heat of the sun, after the summer season, rainy season is very blissful. In summer, generally, we always look for the rain. We always look towards the sky if rain will be coming, because that will give us some solace and relief from the scorching heat of the sun. So naturally, when the rainy season comes, then the leaves also blossoms which were dried up in the summer season. And the Vrindavan forest was looking very beautiful, very green, lush green, and full of flowers and fruits. So in that atmosphere, Śrīla Sukadeva Goswami is describing that banokasa pramudita banaraji madhurchita. So Śrīla Sukadeva Goswami is describing about the inhabitants of Vrindavan. And specifically here, though the Brajavasis, the cowherd, men and women, they were also living in the forest of Vrindavan. But here specifically, Śrīla Sukadeva Goswami is pointing out to the inhabitants, those who are from aborigine race, means Sabara tribes, Pulinda. So Banavakasa Pramudita. Here specifically mention that the Banavakasa, that should mean the residents of Bana or the forest, are very Pramudita, means they are very happy. But specifically, this Banavakasa word, though it can be used for everyone, those who are living in the forest, but specifically this word is used to point out to the Pulinda women. All the previous acharyas, those who have commented on Srimad Bhagavatam, starting from Sridhar Swami, Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sanātana Gosvāmī, Jiva Goswami, they all, Vallabhacharya, they all point out that Banavakasa here is the women, Pulinda women of Vrindavan forest. They were very happy, Pramudita. And why they were happy? Because they saw Kṛṣṇa with his cowherd friends and Lord Balaram. They were wandering in the forest of Vrindavan. To get darshan of Lord Kṛṣṇa was very pleasurable. Yes, Kṛṣṇa is all attractive. So specifically, all the Brajavasis, they were attracted towards Kṛṣṇa. And here, the Pulinda women, these women of the Sabara tribes, they were very much attracted towards Lord Kṛṣṇa. Also, we will see in the next chapter when the gopis will describe about the glories of Kṛṣṇa's flute, the song of Kṛṣṇa's flute, Venu-git. There also the gopis would specifically mention about these Pulinda women. So there in Venu-git, the gopis, they were telling the fortunate position of the Pulinda women. So they are telling, Purna Pulinda Urugaya Padapcha Raga Si Kunkumena Daitastana Manditena. The gopis who were talking among themselves, and Kṛṣṇa was in the forest grazing the cows, and they were thinking in their mind's eye, they were thinking how Kṛṣṇa would be doing in the forest, how he would be performing his pastimes in the forest. So in that way, they were also describing about these Pulinda women, that how these Pulinda women were fortunate. Purna, their life has become perfect. what pious activities or pious deeds they must have done. As a result, though they are born in Pulinda or Sabar tribe, not very high class race, very low class race, but still their life has become perfect. And how it has become perfect? They are telling Purna Pulinda Urugaya Padabjaraga. So when Kṛṣṇa was moving in the forest, and these Pulinda women, they saw Kṛṣṇa from a distance. So they were very much attracted towards Lord Kṛṣṇa. And their lusty desires within their heart developed. So, when they were very feelingly looking towards Lord Kṛṣṇa, and Kṛṣṇa was passing by, and Kṛṣṇa was also amused to see these loving devotees of his, these Pulinda women. So Kṛṣṇa was also very much pleased. So when Kṛṣṇa was passing through in the forest, these Pulinda women, they saw some reddish dust on the creepers in the Vrindavan forest, or on the grass where Kṛṣṇa was walking over. So Urugaya Padabjaraga. So these Pulinda women saw this reddish color on these creepers or the grasses. Shri Kunkumena Daitasthana Manditena. And from where this reddish dust came on the top of the creepers or on the grass, because it came from the Padabja, from the reddish lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa's feet is reddish. It looks like lotus. But now the Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet was containing this reddish powder. And when Kṛṣṇa was walking on the grasses or on the creepers in the land of Vrindavan, this reddish powder was dropping on the creepers and the grasses from his feet. And from where the gopis are telling this thing, that from where this reddish powder came from to the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, now Shri Kunkumena Daitasthana Manditena. Where this reddish powder was decorating the breast of Kṛṣṇa's beloved. And here specifically it has been mentioned Sri. Sri means Lakshmi. And Srimati Radharani is Sarva Lakshmi Mai, the source of all Lakshmis. All the Lakshmis are coming from Srimati Radharani. So here Sri means Srimati Radharani. So this dust was decorating the breast of Srimati Radharani, and it has come to the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. Because also the gopis, sometimes when they will think of Kṛṣṇa wandering in the forest of Vrindavan, they would always think that how Kṛṣṇa would be traveling on the pathway in the forest of Vrindavan, where there are many pebbles, and there would be many different types of thorns. So Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet would be very hurt by these pebbles and thorns. And they were thinking that when we would put the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa, which was very, very soft. So the gopis were telling that Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet are very, very soft. And we think our breasts are very hard. So when we would put Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet on our breasts, we would be thinking that our breasts were hurting Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet. Because our breasts are hard and Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet is very soft. So they were thinking in that way. So when the gopis would put Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet on their breasts, then naturally this kumkum powder, this dust, which was adoring the breast of the gopis, that would touch the lotus feet of Kṛṣṇa. That's why here, Sri Kunkumena Daita Kucha Asthana Manditena. So the gopis are telling that this Pulinda women saw this reddish kumkum powder, which is actually decorating the breast of the Krishna's beloved Srimati Radharani. Tat darsana smara rujas truna rusitena. So when the Pulinda women, they saw this kumkum powder on the top of these creepers, on these grasses, then the lusty desire aroused within their heart to meet with Kṛṣṇa. That was natural for them. So tat darshan smara rujas trunarusitena, and they felt separation from Kṛṣṇa and they wanted to meet with him. Limpantya anana kuchesu juhusu tad adhim. Though the Pulinda women, they desired to meet with Kṛṣṇa because the lusty desire has aroused within their hearts. But it was not possible for them to meet with Kṛṣṇa. Though Kṛṣṇa knew the hearts of everyone, the desires of everyone, but still Kṛṣṇa would not give that opportunity to other women as he was giving that opportunity to the gopis. Like we see the Brahman wives, when they came with the food for Kṛṣṇa, they came to Vrindavan, their husbands were stopping them. But the Brahmin wives, they did not listen to their husbands. They personally brought all the foodstuff to feed Kṛṣṇa and Balaram and his cowherd friends. And when they saw Kṛṣṇa, they were also very much attracted, seeing the beautiful form of Kṛṣṇa. And seeing Kṛṣṇa, they were holding the pots, but they stood still. Just by looking towards Kṛṣṇa, they could not move. They are so immersed in attraction of seeing the beautiful form of Kṛṣṇa. But then after some time, when they regain their external consciousness, so they prayed to Kṛṣṇa, but after offering the foodstuff, they prayed to Kṛṣṇa to remain with him in the forest. They did not want to go back to their husbands or husbands' homes. But Kṛṣṇa did not tell them to stay with him, because that will not be a good standard for the men of this world to follow. Krishna would only perform pastimes with gopis because he was a gopa. But he would not do that with Brahmins' wives or even the Pulinda wives. He did not do this thing, though they had all developed this lusty desire for Krishna. So these Pulinda women, what did they do? When they saw this red kumkum powder on the top of these creepers or grasses, and to satisfy their lusty desires, they took those kumkum powders in their hands and they put on their faces and on their breasts. So in that way, Nipyanta anana kuchesu jahus tad adhim. So the mental pain they were getting, this Pulinda women, because of the lusty desire, feeling separation from Krishna. So by putting that kumkum powder on their face and on their breast, their lusty desires were satisfied. So Srila Prabhupada comments in his Krishna book on this point, that when someone is tormented by lusty desires in this material world, when he will be attracted towards Krishna, then his tormentation of lusty desires would be over. He would be purified all of these material lusty desires, and he would enjoy Krishna consciousness, which is the sublime happiness one can get in life. So these Pulinda women, by decorating their faces and breast with this kumkum powder, which was coming from the breast of Krishna's beloved, their lusty desires were satisfied. So in this way, here we see in this verse when it is said, Banaukasa Pramudita. So these Pulinda women, by seeing Krishna in the forest of Vrindavan, they were very happy. And they did this thing what the gopis are described in other verse. They put this kumkum powder on the face and breast. Banaraje madhurchita. And in the rainy season, also the Banaraji, here Bana means forest. Raji means the, what to say? Rose of forest. Sometimes he said that Vriksha Raji means a rose of trees. But here it is stated Banaraj, the rose of forests. So Ballavacharya in his commentary says that there are rows of forests with different kinds of trees in Vrindavan. There are so many different forests in Vrindavan. Dwadasavana, 12 forests of Vrindavan. And there are different trees, and they were all full of leaves, very lush green. They are looking very lush green and full of fruits and flowers. And also madhurchyuta. In the rainy season, from all these trees, this honey was flowing. Jaladhara girer nadad aśanaḥ dadruse guhāyāṁ. And because there is excessive rain, and then Jaladhara Girir Nadat, from the mountains. In Vrindavan there are so many mountains. And we have a chief mountain here, Giriraj, the king of mountains. So from the mountains, there are streams coming down from the mountains. And when the streams are coming down, then there is sound of falling water from the mountain top. The water is falling down, so there is sound. And the sound is magnified because of the presence of the caves. So when there are caves nearby, there will be resounding of sound. That's why Girir Nadat Asana Dadruse Guha. So when Kṛṣṇa saw these mountain fountains coming down from mountains, and there is echo resounding from the sound, then he could understand there must be caves nearby. And then, because caves, they were covered by grasses. Because in the rainy season, the grasses, they grow very quickly. In summer season, the grasses dries up. But in rainy season, even the grass grows so fast that the roads are also covered by grass. So in the same way, the caves are also covered by grass. But Kṛṣṇa could find out the caves because of this echo coming from the mountain streams. So, Dadruse Guha. So Kṛṣṇa saw these nearby caves, understanding from these echoes of the mountain streams. Then, kvacid vanaspati-kroḍe guhāyāṁ cābhivarṣati. And when it would rain in the rainy season, so there would be sudden rain. There would be sometimes rain, sometimes no rain. And Kṛṣṇa, with his cowherd boys and Lord Balaram, he would be wandering in the forest, grazing his cows, and suddenly the rain would come. So when the rain would come, then generally, Kṛṣṇa, what he would do, because when the rain would come, generally we want to save ourselves from rain. We take shelter. If we were in a forest, then we could take shelter under a tree or under a cave or under the hollow of a tree. Vanaspati-kroḍe. Sometimes we see some trees with a hollow, so one can stay inside. So Lord Kṛṣṇa, with his cowherd boys and Balaram, so when there would be sudden rain, they would run. Generally, if we would be walking on the road and the rain would come, then we start running to find a shelter. So Kṛṣṇa would also do the same thing with cowherd boys. So they would run. Guhāyāṁ cābhivarṣati, nirviśya. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that nirviśya means Kṛṣṇa would run to enter in a cave or in a hollow of a tree. So, sometimes here Krishna is addressed as Bhagavān. So, when Sukadeva Goswami says this, that means Krishna is Bhagavān, he is the Supreme Lord. And when the rain is coming, as Krishna is Bhagavān, he could stop the rain. But he did not stop the rain. Like when Krishna was studying in Sandipani Muni's ashram, and when Sandipani Muni's wife sent Kṛṣṇa and Sudama to fetch some wood from the forest, and they were carrying wood on their heads and they are coming back home, that time rain started. Rain, storm, heavy wind and rain started. And then there was everywhere darkness and the forest path was full of water. They could not find the way. So Krishna was Bhagavan. He was the Supreme Lord. He would have stopped that. But why did he not stop this? Because Krishna was acting like a human being. Though he was Bhagavan, but he was acting like a human being and performing his pastimes like a human being. And why he was doing this? To give pleasure. To give pleasure to himself and give pleasure to his devotees. To the people in general. To his coward friends. Krishna was playing. Though he could have stopped all this rain and everything, inconvenience. But he did not do this. That's why Sukadeva Goswami is using the word reme. Reme means enjoying. Enjoying these pastimes, playful pastimes. So when there would be excessive rain and they would run for shelter, and the shelter may not be nearby, so they would run to find a hollow of a tree or a cave to take shelter. Just like ordinary human beings. Though he was Bhagavan, Krishna was Bhagavan. And this was his playful pastimes. So nirviśya bhagavan reme kanda-mūla-phalāśanaḥ. See, Lord, in this way, enjoyed the rainy season in the forest of Vrindavan by taking shelter in a cave during rainy season or in a hollow of a tree. And then what did he eat? Then Sukadeva Goswami says, whatever was available in the forest, Krishna ate that. So, kanda-mūla-phalāśanaḥ. The Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa, he ate the roots and fruits in the forest, available in the forest. And specifically, Sanatana Goswami says that in rainy season, this kanda-mūla, the roots are very soft. and available in abundance in the forest of Vrindavan. So Kṛṣṇa with covered boys, they do pick up this kanda-mūla. Kanda-mūla are of two types. One is round shape, another is like a root. The round shape kanda, that is available on the surface of the earth, and the root is underneath the earth. And they dig up and get the root. So here phala means fruit is mentioned later. First kanda-mūla is mentioned. Why? Because in the rainy season, kanda-mūla is available in abundance. And it is very tasteful, very soft. So that is the prominence of eating item available in the rainy season. Prominent eating item. And phala is also available, but kanda-mūla is specifically mentioned. So in this way, Lord Kṛṣṇa, he was enjoying with his cowherd friends and Lord Balaram in the forest of Vrindavan in the rainy season. And in this way, he was actually attracting the conditioned souls. The conditioned souls of this world, though they are trying to enjoy, but they are all suffering in this material world. And they don't know that what is the real enjoyment. Sada samudvignadiya asatgrahat. The conditioned souls, they are all suffering. That's why always in anxiety, because they have accepted asat as sat. They have accepted this material body, which is asat, temporary, as sat. They are thinking this is permanent body, I can enjoy with this body. As the body is temporary, the enjoyment derived from the body is also temporary. And for that temporary enjoyment, we are going through so much tribulation, so much anxieties. Sada samudvignadiya. Always in great anxiety for little enjoyment, temporary enjoyment of this material world. That's why Prahlad Maharaj says that hitvatma patam gruha andhakupam vanangato yad haryasrayet. That one should give up this gruha andhakupa. Give up this blind well of material existence and go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Lord Hari. So, why Kṛṣṇa is showing these pastimes in Vrindavan? All these pastimes of Kṛṣṇa are windows to the spiritual world. This is some samples Kṛṣṇa is showing in this material world. And through these Kṛṣṇa's pastimes, we can understand that if we become associated with Kṛṣṇa, if we become Kṛṣṇa conscious, then we can also enjoy with Kṛṣṇa as his cowherd friends, as the gopis and all the Brajvasis, they are enjoying with Kṛṣṇa. So these pastimes are meant to attract the conditioned souls of this material world, those who are always suffering with constant anxiety. That's why Prabhupada says that when one will be associated with Kṛṣṇa, then all of his material anxieties will be over, all his material lusty desires would be over, and he would enjoy eternal happiness in association with Kṛṣṇa and his devotees. Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions? Okay. Hare Krishna. Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jai Śrīla Prabhupada Ji Maharaj ki.